Welcome back. A Namibian citizen who's stuck in South Africa with his newborn twin daughters because the Ministry of Home Affairs in his country reportedly does not want to issue travel documents for the two babies, says the decision has effectively rendered his children stateless and homeless. Architect and university lecturer Phillip Lühl has now filed an urgent application in the Windhoek High Court. He's asking the court to order the Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration and Safety and Security there to issue emergency travel certificates for his daughters or to allow him to enter Namibia with the two babies. Phillip Lühl joins us now. Very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us, Phillip. So, does the status quo remain?
Yes, the status quo remains essentially because we're awaiting the court judgment in this case, in the urgent application, which has been set for the 19th of April. So essentially, we're awaiting the outcome of the judgment.
I believe that the Namibian government, the Deputy Government Attorney Jabulani Ngcuba, has said that the Minister of Home Affairs will be opposing your urgent application. Are you aware of this?
Yes. So the hearing was in fact already on the Thursday, 25th of March, and they have already opposed our case, and so we're now essentially just waiting the judgment, as I said, on the 19th.
All right, so just take us through exactly what happened, and were you aware that you would face such difficulties? And was there ever any indication that your marriage is not recognized?
That was quite clear to us that the marriage is not recognized, but this case is not about our marriage being recognized. It's about our twin daughters who have been born through surrogacy here in South Africa, and for whom birth certificates were issued in both my and my partner's name, following the court order and the whole legal process as it is common here. And so essentially the Namibian Home Affairs denies the validity of those birth certificates, because according to them, it is impossible to have two fathers. And so they are essentially, not in the case of the twins, but in the case of our firstborn, who is just 2 years old now, who went through the same exact process, and for whom we had already applied for citizenship by descent. It was denied, or at least made subject to proving that I, as a Namibian father, have a genetic link to the child, as a sort of prerequisite to issue Namibian or citizenship.
I ask you this, Phillip, just because there are those who suggest that you are being discriminated against because of your relationship, the fact that your partner has sought permanent residency and has been denied. Do you believe that this is inherent to the challenges that you have faced before and what you're facing now?
It is part of a larger sort of pattern of state-sanctioned homophobia, because unlike in South Africa, we still have some of these colonial penal codes that effectively criminalize homosexuality, at least amongst men. And even though the position of the government is that these laws are not actively being implemented, there is the mere existence of the laws has these sort of real impacts on people's lives. And our case is just one of those cases.
So I believe that the South African government recognizes the surrogacy agreement, but that the Ministry of Home Affairs in Namibia wants proof of a genetic or biological relationship between yourself and your partner. Is this correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And so, and we are, essentially, contending that notion that only the parent with a biological link is the parent, because we believe that, if that was the case, first of all, there's no legal basis in the Namibian constitution or in law that requires a biological link, to prove parentage. Otherwise, adopted children, for example, would never be able to be, legally considered to be, the children of somebody. But also because, no heterosexual couple whose children are born in South Africa, for example, or in any other country, would ever be subjected to a DNA test, to see if their children are their real children, right? So we just believe that, not believe, but we argue, that this is a case of discrimination based on us being a same-sex couple.
So, Phillip, I'd imagine that you've had a think or two about what unfolds should the court grant your order that you have emergency travel documents for your children. What happens then should you reach Namibia with your babies? Does that mean another fight awaits you?
So essentially, this case is indeed only about the travel documents of the twins. The substantial case is the ongoing court case regarding the citizenship of our firstborn, which has been in court since I think November 2019, and is only to be sort of heard in July of this year. And so the outcome of his case and determination of his citizenship will actually have direct bearing on the twins. And so, when it was clear that his, the court decision in his case was, going to be taking longer than the birth of the twins, we approached Home Affairs to essentially request a sort of proactive solution, saying like, if they would issue travel documents, we can be in Namibia and await the outcome of his case, and then following that we would then take appropriate action afterwards. And so when Home Affairs essentially denied issuing the travel documents, that was when they effectively separated us as a family, because I'm with the twins here in South Africa and my husband is with the firstborn in Namibia, and the firstborn, having a legal case pending, cannot travel out of the country. So, that's where the catch-22 is.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us and sharing your experience. Phillip Lühl, Namibian citizen, architect and university lecturer.